So, hi everyone. Welcome to today's TOEFL prep lesson for the brainstorming and independent writing. So I've put together a ton of prompts that I've taken from some of the official ETS tests and some other test prep books like the Cracking the TOEFL and the Complete Guide to the TOEFL. We'll try to go through as many of these prompts as possible. Basically, I'm going to be doing a ton of writing here. I'll be talking and explaining my rationale and thinking, but you're going to see me kind of what would I be doing if I were on the day of the test and having to brainstorm how to come up with my outline, how to start justifying my ideas, coming up with examples and details. So this will get my outline, my template of my strategy for what I would do for each one of these essay topics. The bar is kind of high because I did get a 30 on the writing section, but here you will see me kind of doing this live and going through these prompts and trying to brainstorm these ideas. I have not exactly kind of gone through each one of these topics in advance to kind of brainstorm ideas. You're going to be seeing me kind of brainstorming this at the moment and realize that on the day of the test, you don't really have much of a choice when you're on that exam topic. If you don't like it, you don't have the option of saying, can I have a new one? So each one of these topics that you'll see, I put a link here. I think the tiny URL, TOEFL brainstorming. So you can kind of get to that link. It's a Google document, and I will be sharing my screen so you can see that as well. But it might also be easier for you to kind of just listen to me. And the main work that we'll be looking at today is this Google document. So you can see me brainstorming, hear me commenting how I'm going to be organizing this idea, what ideas I think would be potentially useful, what examples could be related to the topic. I will talk about in my brainstorming of how I will kind of really read between the lines of the topic itself, even though it might just be one line, one sentence, one statement. A lot of the examples that we're going to be looking at today are these do you agree or disagree with the following statement types. I know there are new questions that are popping up as well in terms of here are 3 choices and which one would you choose. But I would like to also show you some of these do you agree, disagree statements, because those are very frequent on the TOEFL as well. So please let me know in the comments where you are from, whether you have any specific questions that I can answer so far. I see a couple questions here from Elena. So hi, Elena. There's a question here about the pronouns for animals. So that's a good question. Generally, when we're talking about animals, unless they're a domestic animal like a cat or a dog, we generally refer to them as it and they. If it is like a cat dog, we might refer to it as like he or she if they're part of the family. Obviously, some farm animals we would maybe realize that like a cow that provides milk, that's a female, so we could refer to it as a she. But generally, I probably would refer to a cow as it, especially if I was not familiar with that cow, with that animal. So I would generally just refer to animals since you probably get a lot of biological essay topics and especially with like integrated writing topics as well that might be related to biology. There, I would probably refer to animals with it and they. Okay. So we're getting some other messages. Hi, Chris. Thanks for joining us. Hi, Asel. So from Kazakhstan. So hi. Thanks for joining us. And so yeah, you can leave your comments here as well. As you can see, I'm in a different location, but I do have access to your questions, your comments here on my cell phone. I'll keep this up as I'm typing and working on the document. So I'm going to start sharing my Google document in the screen share view, and then we'll get in here. But so yeah, hi, Stanislav from Moscow, and I mean, I wouldn't normally go into this kind of stuff on these webinars, but I just want to say I'm very sorry about the news that I heard this week in St. Petersburg. I know I have many friends there, I have many students there, and so a lot of you guys are in my thoughts this week. So stay safe, and let's get into the TOEFL. So. Let me get the screen shared here now. So this is just 1 second here. Let me make sure I have the screen ready there. Okay. That should be, yeah, okay. Now I can just get the screen. Let me know if in the comments you can see my screen. It's a little small. I'm probably gonna zoom in on that a little bit. Yeah, please leave a comment so I can know that you can see my screen. I would appreciate that. Hi, Arena. How are you doing? Nice. Thanks for joining us. And hi, Maria and Artyom and Akim and Evgeny. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Asel, for letting me know that you can see the screen. I'm going to zoom in on it so to make sure that it's a little bit bigger on here. And I could probably make all this font a little bit bigger. So maybe, no, that's too big. Sorry. Maybe 18 is a bit better on the screen, and I will kind of hide the top of the screen. Let me go back here, see if that's a little bit better. Okay, so the topic that we have on here is this, do you agree or disagree with the following statement? And the question is here, technology has made children less creative than they were in the past. And I'm going to give myself a 5-minute timer here. So my clock says 12:09. I'm going to give myself until, here where I'm living in Mexico City. So I'm going to give myself 5 minutes here to brainstorm this. So, okay. So getting really into this topic, technology. So technology, you can see me typing. I'm sorry, I have made some mistakes because this is live. So this can have some benefits and some disadvantages. So here, the idea is, well, what would be the benefits of technology on here? So, and related to children, so, and their creativity. And we're also looking at now compared to the past. So this is looking at children today versus the past, and because of using technology. The idea with the word technology, it can be a little bit misleading because like all of humanity, like throughout the thousands of years that we've existed, we've always had technology. At some point, technology was just a piece of rock, flint, that could be a bow and an arrow, or fire was technology, or the wheel was technology. So technology does not only refer to these high-tech gadgets that exist today. Technology can be just like strategies, things that we use in life. But so there's always been technology. It isn't just like high-tech stuff. But I suppose what they're trying to say here is probably these high-tech things, internet, cell phones. So what for me would be technology? Okay, internet, cell phones, tablets. What else could there be here? Video games. Usually video games might be a little bit more in other things as well. What else could I put here? And their creativity. So what would be the problems with their creativity? Well, technology could limit them. They consume more than they produce. So if they're being creative, maybe they like play outside, and maybe with technology, they stay inside. What else here? Socializing, social skills. So when you play games, like maybe you spend time with friends, and maybe with technology, they stay kind of indoors, alone, and interact digitally, so through a screen. So those could be things that, yeah. So I guess I might tend towards, so at this point, I really need to start making my opinion. So my opinion is, yes, I agree. Technology makes children less creative. Now I'm getting on here into my reasons. Well, why? Okay, one, they consume content on a screen. They are not using their imagination by making up, because if they consume information, that means they're not producing something. So they're not using their information. They're not using their imagination to make up games or stories with their friends. So maybe also technology could just be the fact. I'll go back up here. Technology could also be the fact that there are TV and computers. So, for example, my children really like to watch Netflix and YouTube on a Roku, which is just like, they're not even watching cable. They're watching it through a device that allows them to watch this kind of digital all you can eat content. Great. Okay, now I'm up to 5 minutes here. So basically, yeah, they're not making up stories with their friends. They're just watching shows on TV and tablets. What else would I say here? They're not playing outside. They're not discovering the world because they're not outside. So they're not discovering nature and observing it. So and that can kind of that discovery is conducive. This might be your word for the day. Conducive for curiosity, and curiosity leads to creativity. So I'm making sure, like, I keep going back to this topic of what is it? Creativity. So being less creative, that's my big operative word in this in this prompt. So technology, and okay, I've made a mistake here in terms of the past. So I'm still talking about today, and so I do need to make this of a comparison. So in this case of, let's say, in the past when I was a kid versus my children today. So I would need to make sure that I'm using these examples of when I was a child. I used to play outdoors with my friends, and we didn't have computers with the internet or smartphones or YouTube or Netflix. So we only watched a TV show when it was on. Then afterwards, we would go outside and pretend that we were those characters. So we used our imagination. So here I'm actually writing a little bit in here, my examples. But I would make sure that I am making this comparison of the past versus today, because those are important words that are in here. So my examples would get into when I was a child, and also saying some of these things that, yeah, technology, there's the cell phones, they're interacting with a screen. So so I would also make sure to use the examples of sorry. The example of my children and screens and not playing enough with toys. They prefer to watch TV and not play games or create things with Legos and Duplos, things like that. So, okay, so I've gone over 3 minutes into my brainstorming of what I want to do here, but it's now I'm starting to get my examples. I'm starting to get a lot better ideas here. I'm keeping an idea. I'm keeping this technology aspect in here, and I'm trying to also relate to the fact that, okay, it's not just play games, but also toys and build things. My son loves to play with Duplos and create things there. So I would definitely try to include some of those examples into this story. I would make sure I wouldn't go too far into the specifics about my children. I mean, also as I'm a little bit older than probably most of you, I do have a family. I have 2 kids. So most of the time, I think these people who are taking these tests, I think it would probably be younger people who probably wouldn't have kids or family. So it would probably be related to yourself versus maybe when you were a child. So so you can include those examples. Don't go too far into the specifics and give too much or flowery language. Make sure you stay on topic. So, okay. So that's about what I did here. You can see I did this basically, or I think I did about 8 minutes. Let's see if I can do this a bit faster, a little bit better with my outline. So I'm going to say, yeah, my opinion is yes, I agree. It's making children less creative. And then I'm thinking of my examples from my own childhood versus my kids. So those would be my examples and the reasons that I'm going to be using to explain that. Okay, let's move on to this next one. Okay, so this is again related to children. So this is going to be agree or disagree with this following statement. Playing computer games is a waste of time. Children should not be allowed to play them. Use specific reasons and examples to support your answer. Okay, so this is 12, 19. So hopefully I did 8 minutes. Let's bring this down to 6 and try to get this down faster. So I'm going to give myself until 12, 20, 25. Okay, so computer games, that's a waste of time. So basically bad. And basically this idea of not allowed to play them, so prohibit them. So, agree or disagree. That's a little, I don't like the idea of prohibiting things, because in my experience with my kids, anytime I say no, that just makes them want to do it even more. So this is going to be a little hard for me, and it is possible that I might come to a conclusion to say, I don't easily. I mean, it could be both. I don't completely agree, and that's going to be hard as long as I have my justifications. But okay, I would say here, yes, it can be a waste. Can be a waste of time. For example, when I was a teenager, I used to spend way too many afternoons playing video games instead of doing my homework or playing outside, getting exercise, spending time with friends. What else? Or playing music, or playing or practicing music, things like that. Okay. So yeah, it was a waste of time. I basically my what I'm trying to say there is I could have been more productive with my time. And actually, my dad did make okay, somebody says they don't see the text. Can somebody else also confirm that you can see the text, please? Hopefully that is, hopefully somebody else can also say that they see the text. Please confirm that. Otherwise, I will have to kind of do the screen share again to make sure it works. Meanwhile, I'll answer this question from Artyom. So where do you recommend to take complete practice TOEFL tests? Please send the link. Complete practice tests, the official ones, I would recommend going to the ETS website. Those would be your best source to make sure you're getting authentic materials. They have a couple that are for free that you can download. They have some samples, but they do have complete practice ones. They do cost, I think, about like $30-$40 or so, but they are cheaper than taking the actual test going to the center, and they do give you an accurate feel for what the exam is going to be like, and they do give you the feedback. Thank you, Olga and Arina, for covering that. You can see it. So I would say, Anastasia, if you could maybe check, if you could refresh your page, maybe try refreshing the page where the video is located to see for the text. If you want to see this actual link, the link that I put here was my comment, which is all the way at the bottom of the page, that says tinyurl.com/TOEFL in all caps, and then lower letters, brainstorm. So that's what we're looking at. That link should be all the way at the bottom of these comments in the VK comments here. Okay, let's go back here. I lost a minute or two with the brainstorming here. Okay, so yeah, computer games, they're bad. And what was the comment I was going to say? Yeah, my dad said I was wasting time. He didn't prohibit them, but he allowed me to make my own conclusion. And the next weekend, I sold everything. Now, you might think I'm making that up, but it's true. I did when I was like 15. Sorry for all this background noise. It's a loud neighborhood. I'll try to mute my mic for a second. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me again? Please let me know. Please, yeah. Can you hear me? Yes, can you hear me now? Please just, yeah. Yes, okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I just switched that off with that background noise. Okay. So the last, yes, thank you for confirming that. Yes, there's a lot of yeses here. Thank you. It's good to see the yeses, but okay. So the last thing, yeah, I was saying that if I had not sold those video game equipment, I probably wouldn't have gone back into music. And this last point I'm trying to make here is be careful that computer games and video games, they could be slightly off. Like video games could be slightly off topic from computer games. So just be careful with that when you're interpreting these questions. You make sure that you understand what the question is asking you, not what you want to understand. The way you interpret the question, you need to make sure you like stay on topic. So I even do this myself. I also do this in conversations with people. Like I might hear what I want to hear, but just make sure on the day of the test, you read what the question is stating, not what you think it's stating. So this one is clearly saying computer games on there. Okay. I could still acknowledge the fact that this is computer games, and I could relate this and say, I've had a similar experience where I played video games and was a bit obsessed about video games, and then going into my brainstorming about why this is bad, because I wasn't getting exercise. So I could put together here this getting exercise, and also the fact that I was neglecting my studies. So I was not doing my homework. I was wasting time. I wasn't doing my homework. And as a result of not doing my homework, I was getting bad grades. So that's directly related to my studies. So those could be one thing that could be linked together. This exercise outside and the socializing and spending time with my friends. Sorry, closing the window. Get less background noise here. Sorry about this. Okay, so those would be, I think, maybe my three things that I could focus on is this, my studies, how video games affected my studies and my grades, how it affected my health and exercise. And I could say also my social skills, because I was alone by myself. So those could be my three reasons of how I would develop this essay. And I could include this anecdote about how I was wasting time and how I decided to go back into music. And then the music allowed me to develop more of these social skills where I spent time with my friends. Also the fact that I sold my video game equipment, and then I started to focus on doing my homework. And then I started to get better grades. So I could definitely put here that after I sold it, I spent time with friends, focused on my homework and grades, and went outside more. So better health. So those would probably be my three topics. Three reasons why the video games were affecting me and why it was a waste of time. However, the point here about children should not be allowed in this prohibition, I would go back to the fact that my dad did not prohibit them. He allowed me to come to this conclusion on my own. So I think that would be part of this agree, disagree, and why I wouldn't maybe necessarily completely agree at the beginning, but perhaps in my conclusion, in my conclusion, I would agree. I would have more reasons to support why I agree this is a waste of time. Just the second element of the prohibition part of not allowing children to play them might be a little bit debatable. Maybe time limits would be one way how I would consider this. Time limits or some restrictions. Did you do your homework first? So, or did you do your chores, like clean up the house or the room, or feed the pets? So these computer games, they could be a waste of time in terms of not fulfilling one's responsibility as a child for like homework, chores, cleaning the backyard, something like that. So there could be some link there about time limitations or restrictions or conditions as well. So for that second element there. So that's some things that I would brainstorm. Okay, I'm gone over the time that I wanted to do here for this. Okay, so that's way too much time for the brainstorming, but I do have a lot of good ideas that I would use here. Okay, next. Somebody else is saying they don't see it. Can you, once again, can you please confirm that you can see the screen? Because yeah, if Stanislav, if you could refresh your screen, but if somebody else says that you can see it, that will lead me to believe that you can see the screen here. Okay, this next comment, this next prompt here is, do you agree or disagree? It is better to have broad knowledge of many. Okay, thank you, Irina, for confirming that, and Anton for confirming that. Thank you. Okay, so I will keep going. And if you guys don't seem to be able to see, try to refresh your screen. Yeah, we're getting a lot of comments that people can see the screen. So maybe refresh the video because I'm trying to just use the this Google document and keep going. But you may want to go directly to that Google document so you can see me typing, because the focus of the screen might not be the best the way it appears here. Okay, so this one, let's go 12:34, and I'm really going to stick to just 5 minutes here. Okay, it is better to have broad knowledge of many academic subjects than to specialize in one specific subject. Okay, so this is many versus one. And this is basically broad versus specialized. That's a difficult one. Is it better? So which one's better? Better to have broad knowledge of many academic subjects than to specialize in one specific. Well, I think the point of a university education is to, well, it's a mix. I mean, well, this is a difficult one. I can't decide because university education it's mixed. It's like the first 2 years are broad, like a broad general knowledge. And then generally, at least in the United States, the last 2 years is a specialization with like a major and maybe a minor. So once you determine, after you determine what you like, then focus. I think if you only focused on one thing from the beginning, so maybe only one, it could be boring. What else on here? Maybe what happens if what if you pick the wrong one and don't like it? Then what? What else here? It could be boring if you could pick the wrong one. Maybe your motivation is wrong for just one. Maybe, for example, let's say parents had, I don't know, too much influence, or the market says, hey, you'll get a lot of money if you study this job, and then there's no jobs after you finish your studies, and then you realize, okay, I shouldn't have studied that. I should have studied my passion. So basically, like, what What is your passion? So maybe not just like, so I guess a broad area of subjects allows you to discover what you really like. Maybe also in terms of this one, maybe an 18-year-old is not, I don't know, fully, I don't know, mature to just pick one. So maybe at age 20, it might be better. So a broad area of subjects allows you to discover what you really like. What else here? You can pick wrong subjects and realize that you don't like some until you find the one you like or that you want. What else on here? Maybe you discover you like two, and one is your major and the second one is your minor. So maybe having a broad knowledge of these different subjects allows you to kind of eventually choose between two. Also, it just in terms of the subject itself, of like what is better, having broad knowledge allows you to have conversations with lots of people, students, teachers, etc., and be up to date with news and kind of current events, and get a holistic view of the world. So maybe being too specialized at an early age is it's too soon. So maybe university students, they need to get a broad knowledge, get an understanding of several subjects, and to kind of see how those subjects relate to each other and to relate to the world. Whereas if they only do one thing and that's the only thing they're good at, it might be too narrow. So yeah, one subject might be too narrow, limit their job possibilities after the university, and maybe like few friends who only like the same subject. So it might be limiting for work, for socializing, and for, I don't know, just kind of yeah, general knowledge of the world based on those subjects like philosophy, sociology, math, history. If I had only studied music, probably I wouldn't be as kind of like open-minded or broad-minded. So yeah, broad knowledge, open-minded, and yeah. Okay, so I would, which one is better, basically getting to this one? I think I would start to agree that having access to, basically my opinion here is better to experience many subjects. That's going to be my opinion. Now I've done this in 7 minutes. I'm trying to get this faster and faster, but I have, I think, at least a couple really good ideas that I could support in there for the brainstorming, and then starting getting the outline there. Okay, let's move on again for this brainstorming. Try to do this even still faster. Okay, so 12:41. So I'm going to try to really limit this. Let's say 3 minutes. Extended family, grandparents, cousins, aunts, and uncles is less important now than it was in the past. Okay, so again, this is a comparison. I remember the previous one, I kind of neglected the now versus past. So this is relatives, and it's their importance now versus past. Okay, so basically past is basically, I'll talk about when I was a kid. And now I can talk about, I don't know, my kids and their relatives. Okay, so how are relatives important? Well, okay, maybe spend time at holidays, birthday parties, family reunions. There was also the physical distance. I grew up in California, so a lot of my cousins, basically from California versus back east. So I only limited times with my relatives. So basically, I saw them rarely, but enjoyed the time with them. What else in terms of being important? So do I ask them for advice? Not really. Do I stay in contact? I think we used to call on holidays like Christmas, New Year's, birthdays. So I did used to call. Now I'm just on Facebook and Instagram, and I don't know. I see pictures, make comments about, I don't know, happy birthday, and that's about it. I don't call them, unfortunately. Rarely see them for family reunions and weddings now. So basically, were they important? Is it different now between the past and now? It's basically the same. I mean, they were still the importance of them for me, my cousins, aunts, and uncles when I was a kid, because of the physical distance. The physical distance was a big thing there for me spending time with them. I mean, I did have a good relationship with my grandmother, but I equally saw her very, very few because she lived equally far away. So my conclusion would be to say my relatives, because of this physical distance, because the United States is just so big, and also I'm not living in the United States, it would be to say that they have been a bit more on the peripheral. They haven't been so in my daily life. So basically this physical distance and also not in daily life. I know my cousin back east, they spent a lot more time seeing each other once a month, things like that. But because of this distance, I can only see them at holidays. So I didn't see them in my daily life, and basically that reduced how important they were then. They still are relatively far, so I don't exactly necessarily interact with them on a daily basis or call them. But in terms of now with my children, they spend time with their grandparents and some cousins who are here in Mexico, and aunts and uncles, but again, it might be still limited. But I could say here advice, daily life, it's limited, and because of physical distance, so basically just limited to holidays. So I would say, yeah, it's basically the same. Okay, I've 12:46. So I did 5 minutes. I have basically my ideas, and I would say, well, in conclusion, I would say, in my experience, it's basically stayed the same. There hasn't been too much of a difference between past and now. And I would say, yeah, my kids still just interact with their grandparents. It's still kind of limited. Okay. Do you agree or disagree with the following statement? In 20 years, there will be fewer cars than there are today. So this is, again, comparing two time differences, but this is the future. So, so the future, 7, I'll try to do 12, 2. Okay, future versus, whoops. For the future versus now. So this is like, am I asking this, is it going to be the same, less, or more cars? Okay, now what do I think here? I think there will be less cars. Okay, so I agree. Why? Well, I think there are things like Uber and I've seen shared ownership and public ownership of like temporary use cars. Like you can kind of pick up, drop off. That's worked for bicycles in a couple cities like Paris and Mexico City and some other places in Europe. I can see that have this kind of pick up, drop off in different zones for bikes. It is starting to pick up for cars. It's starting to increase for cars. What about self-driving cars? So the technology means that like a car could drive itself and then go park it. And maybe if it's also self-driving, not only could it park itself, maybe it could go be used by other people. So this could be one car to serve more people and not need to be owned or parked. Maybe that same car could be used over and over again during the same day. So maybe there could be less cars. Maybe let's say maybe a new technology of let's say flying drones that have like mini helicopters. So for 1 or 2 passengers. So maybe we don't need cars. No need for cars. So if there's no need for cars, and then instead we're using drones that can fly, so that would reduce the numbers. What else could I see here? So maybe, sharing cars, maybe flying drones, maybe let's say like I'm doing right now, I'm doing this webinar from home. So maybe less need to commute. So more, what is it called? Location independent jobs. So things like teaching and services from home via the internet. So maybe that could also, so that would be less need for travel and commute. So who knows? So those could be my 3 ideas. And where am I? Okay, I'm at 12:50. So I've done that in 3 minutes. Great, yeah. So I've got my 3 ideas, and I would say yes, I agree. So this one was a little bit easier for me to think about, like my projections into the future, and trying to get like 3 ideas about shared ownership, self-driving technology, and maybe flying drones, and then maybe this kind of location independent job. So that could also relate to this. Okay, great. Next one here. Do you agree or disagree? People today spend too much time on personal enjoyment. Interesting. So doing things they like to do instead of they should do. Interesting. Okay, so so this is personal enjoyment instead of responsibilities. So yeah, I could say basically today, yeah, there's a lot of instant gratification. So things like watching movies and TV on demand. What else is this? Basically instant, I don't know, instant payment and delivery. What else on this? So things like even home delivery and like next day things like Amazon, in terms of like to get things that you enjoy, so you don't exactly have to invest. So basically this like invest less time or effort to get results. So yeah, I guess people work less hard than they used to obtain things, and that means there's more time for entertainment. And I think this question kind of also goes back to the industrial revolution. I know I'm getting slightly off topic. I'm sorry, but as a result of the industrial revolution, there was in factories and things like that, and automation, and factories. This meant there was more leisure time. And today we're in the digital revolution. We're still in the middle of it, where there's all of these digital services and products that, again, even like more leisure time. So there is a bit that we do have more time. There's more time. There are also more options that are increasing all the time. There's also more distractions with internet, social media. What else? There's just so much content that we can do, so many games, so many things that are constantly being developed. And because of those distractions and those things, it is harder and harder to concentrate on responsibilities. Distractions, we also have, it's harder to avoid or ignore temptations. It is very, very easy to seek just, I don't know, pleasure and avoid pain. So there's even ways that with digital technology we can like send someone an email instead of like calling them to give bad news. Like if that was our responsibility, like if let's say we had to fire somebody, we could just send them an email or a message. So we might, like, our responsibility might not be so much. I do realize I am getting slightly off topic with that. This one is, I mean, there is the enjoyment, there are the responsibilities. If I pull this back a little bit more, yeah, I'm getting kind of off topic with this one, with the responsibilities. So I would say, if I just keep this simple and go back to, let's say, keep it simple, my kids prefer to watch TV than pick up their room. They prefer to play with toys than feed the cat. What else would they say? Play outside than do homework. So if I just had to really simplify this, I could do that, yeah, in 2 seconds, 2 minutes, and just really keep it simple. I think I probably went into this way too much with technology and free time. So I would have to be very careful with this topic to not get off topic and not go too far into these tangents. So stay on topic, keep it simple, keep it clear, easy to follow, well organized on here, and well developed. So I will probably have to throw out a lot of these ideas. I could use a couple of them about the entertainment, but I would probably, just to avoid getting off topic, I think I would use the examples of my kids, and just they don't want to pick up the room, they don't want to feed the cat and do chores, and they don't want to do their homework. They prefer to play outside. So I would just keep those ideas a bit simple there. And all of these other things about the revolution and I think that would be off topic, and I would probably get penalized for going, like, because it would not be easy to relate that back to the topic. It would not be clear. So if the idea is obscure or too like off topic, it will be penalized. So, okay. So a big chunk of this independent essay is the organization. Finding these ideas that are going to be key to the subject. It's really important to stay on topic. Make sure you understand the prompt as clearly as possible. Be careful with your first interpretation of it, of how you stay very close to it. Don't go too far into it. Like this last one I just did, I got a little far off. So I'm sorry about that. But I did realize it, and I came back and pulled in the reins a little bit on here. So yeah, I would be careful with this one. Also the one about the computer games versus the video games, that one, I would make sure that I would just stick to the word computer games and not mention video games on there. So my anecdote about me having the video game equipment, I would probably modify that, my real story, but modify it and just say I had all these computer games and got rid of them. So stay on topic. But a big part of this is your organization, your ideas. Make sure they're easy, they're simple to follow. Simple doesn't mean like simplified, and simple doesn't mean that your grammar and sentences are overly simple. Simple just means that your ideas, like, they're easy to understand, they're easy to follow, and they have a sense of logic that makes sense, and that your essay seems to flow and develop in a natural way. So I'm trying to pick like 2 to 3 ideas that I could use to develop this topic, and usually weigh examples and reasons that would justify my opinion. So it's, as you could see, sometimes it was a little bit difficult for me to choose on here. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen now. I'll go back to the camera here. So, so you can see here. Okay, so we still have, yeah. So basically, if you would like this next week, I think next week we're going to get into the reading section. So I'll start getting into these reading questions. But if you would like, please go into this document. There's like 20 sample essays that are on there that would be typical of this independent topic. Do some of your brainstorming. The document itself, but you're free to copy that, put that into your own document. And up here, if I'm pointing correctly, where it says scheduling lessons with Jonathan, the again my Russian here, забронировать индивидуальное занятие с Jonathan at $34. If you go over there, there's also a section that says ask Jonathan a question. Feel free to send me one of these independent essays. Make sure that you are doing minimum 300 words. Really work on your construction of your essay, how well you develop it and it's organized. Try to get an introduction, some body paragraphs, like 2 or 3, and then a brief conclusion to kind of wrap up your points. And last week we looked at examples that worked and some introductions that I liked and didn't. And so again, feel free to take some of these topics, send me one of them with that Ask Jonathan a question. I'll review it. I'll give you the feedback. Feel free to take some of these prompts that I was looking at with the brainstorming. Feel free to take some of those ideas and develop them. I will go in here and develop them, and I will kind of put that into the document. So, so if you still are like interacting with this document, I will update it, and I will include a real essay. I will take like 30 minutes for the ones that I was looking at today. There were about, how many did we get through today? I did, yeah, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, 6. So yeah, I will go in through here and develop these 6 essays. I've got 6 essays right now. So I will go through and develop that probably later today, so you can see me do that. And when I was on the test, I did, for the independent essay, I did about 570 words. So I was definitely double, close to double the minimum count of 300 words. Some of this brainstorming that I was trying to do today is probably what I was trying to do mentally on the day of the test, and take advantage of the word processing to kind of put some of your ideas here and there for that. And okay, and there's some comments here yet that you sent me. Maria, I'll check my messages. I'm sorry about that if I didn't get back to you immediately. I'll double check that today and give you the feedback. But thank you for sending me your independent essay. I'll just double check to see about that, and otherwise I can send you a message perhaps via VK, because I can see you're on there. But thank you for that. I will double check to see for the independent essay there to give you that feedback. Okay, and but yeah, as I was saying here with this brainstorming, trying to do this as quickly as I can, trying to get to the core ideas, the ones that are going to be the easiest to develop and the most effective and related to the topic. You don't want to go off topic. You want to stay on topic. And don't get really obscure, don't get really far out there. I have seen some student essays where they took a topic and just maybe turned it into a personal journal entry and just reflected on anything that was going on in their life and that had nothing to do with the essay topic. Please do not do that. Please make sure that you stay on the topic. Have 3 ideas that are easy, simple to follow, that like relate to each other and maybe contrast slightly and help develop your opinion on that. But really stay focused with it. And also realize this is a 30-minute essay. It's very hard to create a perfect piece of writing in 30 minutes. I even suffer with this a little bit, so it's not perfect. But as you can see, I was doing about 6 of these brainstorming in an hour. And each time I did one, it got a little bit better, a little bit faster. I got a little bit more organized. I got a little bit more focused with making sure I didn't get off topic, making sure I stayed on topic. So I would take some of these topics. There's like 20 of them that I've put on this document. Go through them. Don't necessarily do the entire like 30 minutes of that writing for that one topic, but go through this brainstorming process. The more times you do something, the better you will get at it. So if you really struggle at brainstorming, do brainstorming 20 times. You could see that I was doing this 5 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, trying to get it shorter, faster each time and more effective. But go through it. Take 20 of these samples, brainstorm it just over and over again. Your brain will start functioning faster and faster. You'll start seeing ideas connect a little bit easier. But it's just a matter of, if you struggle with something, do it over and over again until you get better at it. And writing, it's a skill that you have to do over and over to get better at. nobody really just becomes a great writer by not writing. You have to practice this. So if you do enjoy reading, yeah, keep reading. That's a great way to get ideas for your writing. And your speaking and listening practice can also help you a little bit. But to get good at writing, you need to practice writing. And if you need to get good at brainstorming, you have to do the brainstorming over and over again. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone, for attending today. I really appreciate you joining in and your comments about if you could see the screen or not, or if you could hear me. Sorry for those little interruptions there. But so next week we were going to be looking at the reading section, and we're going to look at some of these typical reading questions. We'll look at a couple reading prompts and looking at some of the tricky questions, because I know the reading section is one of the ones that can be the most difficult on the test. So thank you for watching, and see you next week. Take care. Пока-пока.